Hello guys and welcome to Python programming tutorials by Amulya's Academy. Today in this tutorial we'll discuss about a pattern program. When we enter number of row as 5, we need to get output like this. This is our today's pattern. So without talking much, let's begin with the program. We are writing a general program, so this program will take user input. So to take the input from the user, first I'll take the variable name as n and I'll use input function to take input from the user. So we will display this message, how many rows you want. Here we are asking the user to enter the number of rows of the output. So for that we took input function. Here I'm using Python 3. So in Python 3 by default this input function will take input as the string value. But here we want number of rows, that is the integer value. So I need to convert that string input to integer input. So for that I'll use int function like this. So now if I enter number of row as 5, that integer number 5 will be stored in the variable n. So this is about the input of the program. Next, so this is our today's pattern. This pattern looks bit complicated, right? So that's why we will divide our today's pattern into 4 parts. That is, this will be the first part, second part, third part and fourth part. And we'll write the code for each part one by one. So we'll begin with the part 1. We want to print this pattern, right? Here we can see we want to print numbers in different row and column. So in the pattern program, if you want to print number or star in different row and column, we need to use the nested loops. And here we will use nested for loops. First we'll write the for loop for row and inside that we'll take the for loop for column. The basic structure of all pattern programs are same. We'll take the nested for loop and first we'll take the for loop for row. Inside that we'll take the for loop for column. Here also we'll do the same thing. So here first I need to take the for loop for row. So here I'm using range function and in the range function I need to mention how many rows I want in my output. Of course we want n rows, right? Because here we are asking the user to enter the number of rows and that value will be stored in the variable n. So we want n rows. So I'll take range from 0 to n. So first row will be row 0, next row 1, row 2, row 3 like that. And inside this we need to take the for loop for column. So I'll take for j in range. So I'll take the variable name as j. You can take any name. And inside this range function we need to take how many columns we want in each row. So in the part 1 of the pattern, here we can see in a row, in some columns we want to print space and in some column we want to print numbers like this. Here in these places we want to print space. Here we want to print number. Here we want to print space and number. Here we want to print space, number. So first we want to print some specific space. After that we need to print number. So inside the for loop for row we need to take 2 for loop. One for loop is to print space and another for loop is to print number. Here we can see first we want to print space. After that we want to print number. That's why I need to take the for loop for space first. After that I need to take the for loop to print the numbers. So first we'll concentrate on the for loop for space. So we'll get this output when number of row is 4, okay, n value is 4. I took range from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the row number. So now let's see how many space we want in each row. Because first we want to print space, right? That's why. Here at row 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Total 9 space. At row 0 we want 9 space. At row 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6 space. Here at row 2 we want 3 space. At row 4 we want 0 space. So we want 9 space, 6 space, 3 space and 0 space. To print this space, what I'll do is I'll take a formula. So here I want n minus I minus 1 space in each row. And here inside that I'll print the space. So I'll take the print function and here I'll take a single space. And next here I'll take end and here I'll take double space. So here end is to keep the control in the same line. We already discussed about this in the many pattern programs, right? And here we can see in the single iteration we are printing 3 space. That is nothing but when n value is 4, so range will be 0 to n. So I value can be 0, 1, 2, 3. So at the first row, that is I0, j in the range n minus I minus 1, right? So n value is 4, I value is 0 minus 1. So 4 minus 1, 3. So we'll get 3 iteration when the I value is 0, that is the 0th row. So at that time we need to print 9 space, right? That's why here I took 3 space in the single iteration. So when j is equal to 0, it will print 3 space. When j is equal to 1, it will print 3 space. And j equal to 2, it will print 3 space. Total 9 space, right? Next, the range is over, so it will go to the next row. So in the single iteration, it will print 3 space. Next, when j is equal to 1, it will print 3 space. And when j is equal to 2, it will print 3 space. Like that, it will complete this space. When row is 1, so I value will be 1. So n minus I minus 1, 4 minus 1 minus 1, that is 2. So we'll get 2 iteration. In the 2 iteration, it will print 6 space. In the first iteration, it will print 3 space. And the next iteration, it will print 3 space. In this way, this formula works. So now we are done with the space. Next, we want to print the number. So to print the number, I'll take another for loop. I'll take same variable name, that is j, and let's see here how many numbers we want in each row. In the first row, that is row 0, that is I value. So here row is nothing but I, right? At row 0 we want 1 value, here we can see. At row 1, that is when I equal to 1 we want 2 value, here we can see. When I equal to 2, that is row 2, we want 3 value. When I is 3 or the row is 3, we want 4 value. So that is nothing but I plus 1 value, right? If this is I, then we want I plus 1 value in each row. So here I'll take range as I plus 1. Next, inside this, we want to print the number. We already saw how many numbers we want in each row. Now we need to know which value we need to print in each row. So at row 0, I want to print 1. At row 1, I want to print 2 first, next 1. At row 2, first I want to print 3, next 2, next 1. At row 3, I want to print first 4, next 3, next 2, next 1. The first value of the each row is nothing but I plus 1 value. Here we can see, right? When I is 0, the first value is 1, that is I plus 1. When I is 1, the first value is 2, that is nothing but I plus 1. When I is 2, the first value of that row is 3, that is nothing but I plus 1. So what I'll do is, here I'll take a variable called k and I'll assign the value as I plus 1. I took this initialization inside this for loop for row. That is because the first value of each row is nothing but the I plus 1 value, right? That's why here I took this, and here I'll take k, comma, end is equal to space. Here I took end is equal to space. That is because here we can see after printing 2, I want to print 1, right? And between that we can see a space here. Between 3 and 2 here we can see a space. So we need to print a space between the values. That's why here I took end as space. Next, to print the next value in the row, after printing 3, I want to print 2. Next I want to print 1. Here after printing 2, I want to print 1. Here after printing 4, I want to print 3, 2, 1, right? So that's why to print the next value in the row, I'll take k value as k minus 1 because we want to decrement the value by 1, right? So that's why I took k minus 1. Next, I'll take a print function. This is for the new line. After each row, we want to go to the new line. That's why I took print function here. So here we are printing only this pattern, part 1. That's why after printing 1, I want to go to the next line to print the next row value. That's why here we took print function. Now if I execute this program and if I enter row as 5, here we can see the part 1. We are done with the part 1 of the pattern. Next, we'll move on to the part 2. We want to print the numbers in the part 2 in the same row as the numbers in the part 1, right? Here we can see we want to print 2, 1 in the row 1 as well as we want to print 1 and 2 in the row 1 itself. So that's why we won't take another for loop for row. We'll just include the for loop to print this number inside this for loop for row. In the part 2 of the pattern, we can see we don't want to print any number in the row 0, right? That's why first I'll take this condition, that is before this print function, because we use this print function for the new line, right? After printing one row, we want to go to the next line. That's why we'll use this print function. Before that, I need to write the for loop to print the numbers of part 2. So that's why we need to write the code for part 2 here. So first I'll take if I is greater than 0, then only print the part 2. Otherwise don't print the part 2. If I is equal to 0, don't print the part 2. Because at I0 we don't want to do anything, right? That's why. In the part 2 we can see in each row, in some columns we want to print numbers and in some columns we want to print space. Here we can see space. And here we want to print numbers. So first we want to print space, after that we want to print numbers, right? So first we'll take the for loop for space, this space to print this space. Next we'll take the for loop to print these numbers. So here I'll take for j in range. And here I need to mention how many space I want in each row. Here in part 1, we wrote the for loop to print this space and we wrote the for loop to print numbers, right? But we didn't wrote the code to print this space. That is because this space is present after the numbers. That's why we didn't consider this space in the part 1. But now before printing the number of part 2, we need to print this space also, right? We need to consider this space also. So we need to consider this part of the part 1 also in the part 2. So that's why in the row 1, we want 0 space. That is because this space will be printed after printing 1. Because when printing the value, that is 1, we took end as space. So after printing 1, it will print a space. No need to worry about this. But here we can see, we want to print this space and this space. Okay, this space will be printed along with this value 1. But this space and this space is left. Here also this space is covered with this value because after printing 1 it will print a space because we took end as space, but we need to print this 4 space. In total we are not bothering about row 0. At row 1 we don't want any space, so no space. At row 2 we want 2 space and at row 3 we want 4 space, right? That's why here I'll take range as I-1 and I'll print 2 space in the single iteration. So why I-1? We are printing 2 space in the single iteration. Remember this. Here we can see at row 2 we want to print 2 space. Because we are printing the 2 space in the single iteration, here to print 2 space we want only 1 iteration. Here also because we are printing the 2 space in the single iteration, that's why to print 4 space we only need 2 iteration, right? 1 and 2. So here we can see that is I value is 2 here. At that time we want only 1 iteration. When I value is 3 we want 2 iteration. That is nothing but I-1 iteration. Because we are printing 2 space in the single iteration, I took I-1 here. So next we want to print the value. So for that I'll take another for loop. And here let's see how many numbers we want in each row. So at row 1 we want 2 number. At row 2 we want 3 number. At row 3 we want 4 number. That is nothing but I+1 numbers. So here I'll take range as I+1. Same as this. Next here inside that we need to print the value. So to print the value we took the variable as k. So I'll take k and end as space. Next here to print the next value in the row, here after printing 1 I want to print 2. Here after printing 1 I want to print 2, next 3. So we need to increment the value. So here I'll take k as k equal to k plus 1 to increment the value. So now if I execute this, so we are getting the pattern in this correct shape, but here we can see we don't want 0 and 1. Value is starting from 0, but we want it to start from 1. That's why to correct that we need to take this increment before printing the value. We need to take this statement before printing the value. And here we are getting the output. So part 1 and part 2 are done. Next we want to print part 3 and part 4, that is the lower part of the pattern. Here in the lower part we can see we want 3 rows, right? So when n equal to 4 we want 3 rows. That's why we'll copy this and we'll paste this. And here I'll take range from 1 to n. Because we want only 3 rows. When n equal to 4, we want only 3 rows, right? So I'll take from 1 to n. Or you can take from 0 to n minus 1 also. It's your wish. So we'll talk about this k value later. First we'll discuss about the for loop for space. First we'll talk about the part 3. In the part 3 also, first we want to print space. So we took range as 1 to n. So we'll get 1, 2 and 3. And here we can see in part 3, first we want to print space, next numbers. And we need to take the for loop for space first. After that we need to take the for loop for number. So first here we can see we want 1, 2, 3 space. Next here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 space. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 space. Okay, similar to this, right? So here we want these many space when n equal to 4, right? So first we want 3 space, next 6, next 9. If I divide this value by 3, because we'll print 3 space in the single iteration, that's why I'm dividing this value. So I'll get 1 and 2 and 3. So 1 and 2, 3 is nothing but the I value, right? So I'll take the range for the space as I. Okay, we want I space, and here we'll print 3 space in the single iteration. 1, here 2 space, okay? So next we want to print the number. So how many numbers we want in each row? In the first row, when I equal to 1, we want 3 number. When I equal to 2, we want 2 number. When I equal to 3, we want 1 number, right? Single number. So that's why I'll take the formula as n minus I. So when I value is 1, 4 minus 1, we'll get 3 number, 1, 2, 3. When I equal to 2, 4 minus 2, so we'll get 2 number. When n equal to 3, 4 minus 3, so we'll get 1 number. Okay, so how many numbers we want? We want n minus I number. So here I'll take n minus I number. So we want to print the k value, right? Let's see which value we want to print in each row. So first we want to print 3, next 2, next 1. First here we want to print 2, next 1. Here first we want to print 1. When I value is 1, we want to print 3 first. So I'll take k equal to n minus I. I initialize k as n minus I. So when I equal to 1, first we'll get 3. When I equal to 2, we'll get 2. When I equal to 3, we'll get 1. If I apply n minus I formula, so here instead of taking k as I plus 1, here I'll take n minus I. So it will print k value. Because we are decrementing the value, that is first we want to print 3, next 2, next 1, I'll take k equal to k minus 1. Okay, so this is for part 3. Next we'll concentrate on the part 4. In the part 4 we can see we don't want to print any number in the last row. Okay, so this is the last row, we don't want to print anything here. So last row is nothing but n minus 1 row, because here you can see it is third row. When n value is 4, this is 3, so that is nothing but n minus 1th row. So here I need to take, if I is less than n minus 1, then only print part 4. Otherwise don't worry about the part 4. In the part 4 also, first we want to print space, next number. That's why here we can see the for loop for space. Next, this is the for loop for number. Let's see how many space we want in the part 4. So here we can see at row 1 we want 1 space, because this space will be filled with this, and we are printing the 2 space in the single iteration, so this will be covered in the single iteration. So here we want 1. Next here we don't want any space, so 0 space. That's why I'll take the formula as n minus I minus 2. Okay, why I took n minus I minus 2? When I value is 1, because we took range from 1 to n. So first row will be 1. I value is 1. N value is 4. 4 minus 1 minus 2. So we'll get 1. So because we are printing the 2 space in the single iteration, when j value is 0, that is in the single iteration it will print 2 space and we'll get these 2 space, right? So that's why here I need to take n minus I minus 2. Next, here we want to print the number. So how many numbers we want? So first we want 3 number, 2 number. We are not bothering about last row. So that's why I'll take it as n minus I. This range same as this. Okay, we need to take the same range. So next k value, next rest is same. So now if I save this and run this, how many rows you want? And here we can see the output. 4 3 2 1 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 1 2 3 2 1 1 2 1. Okay, so this is the pattern. Okay, so this is the output when n is equal to 7. Okay, so this is about this pattern program. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will meet you in next class. Till then, take care.